I don't think Giant.
We're back with Formula One again, and today we're going to be discussing performance and race engineers and Lewis Hamilton. The season has hardly gotten off, and Hamilton is telling Ferrari exactly what to do. With me to discuss that is Roman Mustafa. Kole Williams is also here. I'm Afolabi. Welcome to the show.
Okay, so this centers around the demands that Lewis Hamilton is making on this team. He's made a lot of demands, and they've bent over backwards for him for all these demands. If he doesn't win this year, he's going to look like a jerk. Now there are rumors that in the paddock that Ferrari people are calling him acting on the whims of a spoiled child because, number one, he gets rid of Adami who did very well with two drivers. He did well with Vettel. Who was the other person that Adami coached?
Carlos Sainz.
And Carlos Sainz. He did well with them. He doesn't want them, apparently, because he doesn't speak what they call Lewis speak. You have to be able to communicate to Lewis in his language. You know, girls talk about love language and stuff. You have to speak to Hamilton in his language. Then when they give him Santi who won with Raikkonen. Oh, I don't want Santi. I want Grosjean from Champions McLaren. Grosjean is on garden leave, and a lot of people believe it's because he was preparing this move. And a lot of people at Ferrari blame who's Ferrari's Vasseur. I remembered it before I was about to get it. They blame Vasseur because Vasseur is trying to placate him rather than go to the traditionalist Ferrari sense. Now, for him to reject Santi and says he wants a guy from McLaren who won the championship. If I were an engineer within Ferrari, whether I'm good or bad, I would take that as a rank insult. This guy that he's bringing in, Santi, is a performance engineer who knows a lot about tires and stuff like that and worked with Piastri. No, he didn't work. He helped Piastri, but he wasn't a race engineer. He's a performance engineer. And a lot of people say, well, even though he's not a race engineer, he'll help Hamilton because he helped Piastri with data and tire preservation. Hamilton doesn't need help with tire preservation. He's one of the best tire preservers in the world. And I'm not saying that Grosjean won't be a good race engineer for him. What I'm saying is that, is it really that important to have someone who speaks your language as a race strategist, or is it up to you to figure out what was wrong with the car? Because Roman has shown us that Hamilton is not good at giving feedback, and it's not just about communication. It's about finding out what's going on. Roman will give us an example of how they tried to do that with when Sainz was there. He could get into Leclerc's car and tell you what was wrong with it. There's no gap between language that would make it difficult for Hamilton to be able to express what's wrong with the car. The problem with Hamilton is that he can't diagnose what's wrong with the car. He can give a general thing and says it has understeer, but he can't tell you exactly why. And so therefore, it's not so important for you to bring somebody from an outside. I'm not saying that Grosjean isn't good, but to bring somebody from the team that just won a championship into your team, and then you demote what's his name, Adami, and then you reject Santi. That's not a good way to deal with your team. And I'm going to point straight to Vasseur for this, because Vasseur could lose his job for this, especially if after all of this, Hamilton doesn't do well. What are your thoughts, Roman?
It is a tale of Ferrari where they keep changing stuff and nothing happens, and it goes back to the same stuff. And with Hamilton, it is a specifically a different thing, because from what we have seen, Riccardo Adami is not a competent race engineer. I don't know what anyone has thought. With Vettel, he stressed him out entirely. With Carlos, he kept giving him wrong information. So Carlos just stopped talking to Adami. He just made up his own idea of what to do. And with Lewis, he needs a lot of hand-holding. He needs to be told what is going on with the car, where to find performance, what balance changes to be done, anything like that. And Riccardo Adami simply can't do that. I've seen his race calls with Hamilton. It is basically a monkey trying to tell you what to do, is how I can explain with the kindest words. With the kindest word. So he himself is a very horrible race engineer. There's no doubt about it. And getting rid of Riccardo Adami will soothe Hamilton. But will it fix Hamilton? No, it won't. And for Hamilton, I think what he should have done is that he should stay with Santi, saying like, okay, at least you're a new guy who has never been a race engineer before. So I'll be your first race driver. Let's talk.
I thought he worked with Raikkonen as a race engineer back in the day, though. He did.
Yeah, but he hasn't been a race engineer for a while, though. He hasn't been a race engineer for a while.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's basically, so he can sit with Santi and say like, hey, let's talk, let's go to dinner, let's figure out what is our language, and let's work together. So for all I know, if Santi can read the radio and the data and say that to Hamilton, 90% of Hamilton's problems with the race engineer will be gone from a mile. So that's all a race engineer needs to do. Like, look at great race engineers, right? Bono for Hamilton Mercedes, GP for Max. They know their driver. They know what ticks them, what pisses them off, how to give them information, how to soothe them, what to tell them what to do. So a race engineer is very important for a race driver, but Hamilton's method of doing this and being particular, hey, I only want someone from McLaren because they want to construct us, is a very
somebody who's never been a race engineer either.
It's a very single-minded way of thinking, and that can really harm him.
And I don't think, and I blame Versuto because I don't think it's worth the risk. Because even if you bring somebody that speaks Hamilton's language, there's so many other problems that Ferrari that he'll still fail anyway. So you don't need to rock the boat at that level. Yeah, thank you. Very good one. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, this looks like a very big gamble to me. No matter what happened between Riccardo Adami and Hamilton over conversations off the radio and stuff, I don't think at this time you should be allowing Hamilton so much influence as to say who would come and replace who as race engineer. Because, I mean, the fact that McLaren win does not necessarily mean that they have the most talented engineers working with them. At the end of the day, it's the aerodynamics and the superiority of the car, that takes precedence over whatever talent they have as an engineer. And in my own opinion, if they continue to kind of fit the system to Hamilton, already there's a replacement plan with Oli Behrman from Haas to replace him if all of these don't work. No, this is going to bounce back catastrophically on Fred Vasseur if it doesn't work out. Because if you bring someone in like Grosjean, you are coming into an Italian setup. The way they work in Ferrari is different, no matter how talented you are. There'll be some teething issues in terms of working with the driver and stuff. So it looks like a gamble to me. It could well work out, but I don't see why they should go this route.
And here's what's going to happen. It's going to make the civil war within Ferrari become one-sided because all the Italian guys now that know Leclerc, they're going to double down on him and say, look at this fucking outsider that they bring from McLaren. Who the fuck do they think they are? And also, here's another thing. McLaren is notoriously known for having great aerodynamics and having poor race engineers and having poor strategy.
Oh, yeah.
This is the worst team you should go to for a race engineer. That's all I have to say. What do you think, Kunle? And then we'll go back to
I think the issue is that I think because Hamilton has had a history of not really communicating well. And when they're probably looking at the strengths and the weaknesses of their drivers, they probably want to focus on what's best for them. So that's probably why they're listening to Hamilton as to whom they want to, why they want to replace Adami. I think Adami was the one that we heard exchange a few nasty words last season with Hamilton.
Have a tea while you're at it.
Hamilton started it by saying have a tea while you're at it. If I were working with Adami, I would have never said that. What I would have done is to try to work with him off the track and say, oh, it seems like we're having communication issues. Try to be as diplomatic. It's never diplomatic to say there's a problem, but saying have a tea while you're at it is humiliating. And now it brings in an atmosphere of hostility between the two of you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I mean, he just doesn't communicate well. I mean, there's some little phrases that you might say to somebody. One person will take it like laughing, and the other person will get upset. Like there was a day I cooked something really nice, and I told my wife, "Oh, it's too good for you." It was trying to say that, and she took it like an insult. So I think that the communication between them, I think if it's going to constantly end badly, it's probably best for Hamilton to be with someone that he can communicate with freely when he's on the edge.
English is my first language. If Hamilton had told me have a tea while you're at it, I'd be like, settle down, man. Stop being so sarcastic. You see what I'm saying?
Some people would laugh. I think some people would calm down. Some people get upset.
No, that was unprofessional of Hamilton. That was unprofessional of Hamilton. It was unprofessional. Very unprofessional. But I understand what you're saying. Here's my own argument, Khalil. You're right. Adami sucks as an engineer. So what is his excuse for getting rid of Santi instead, Khalil? Give Santi a try.
No, I think Santi is supposed to work with him with the.
No, only as interim. Only as
interim. Yeah.
So what they should have done, and also, you know what, Hamilton most likely already got them to bring in Grosjean last year, because Grosjean went on gardening leave last year, and it seems like he already knew he had this. Hamilton has made them do this A spec, B spec, which is stupid. Okay, he made them change the front suspension last year to help him and make changes to the car, which was also stupid and messed up Leclerc. So how many times will they continue let Hamilton dictate things, which is ruining their team? What do you think, Roman?
I have to disagree with you on that, Mike. I don't think Hamilton has said anything about how to make a damn car. That's just Ferrari's incompetence.
Hamilton had them change like you said, he make them make the front steering a little bit more understeer for him.
No. Ferrari interpreted it that Lewis liked the stable rear end, and he doesn't like a front going left and right. So Ferrari, in their infinite wisdom, decided to put understeer on the front without consulting Hamilton.
So then it wasn't Hamilton, but it was him. I don't mind being wrong on that one. But my question then is, why is Ferrari continuing to tinker with their car and with their system to please someone who's only going to be around for 1 year more and is most likely not going to win more than one race?
Because of an investment. Here's the thing. Two things can be true at the same time. Hamilton's mere existence and Ferrari's desperation to make him too good so that they can appease the investors can make Ferrari do a lot of things without Hamilton doing anything. For example, one could say that it was Ferrari's decision to not put Santi for Lewis Hamilton because they weren't sure the Italian would be better for Hamilton.
Hamilton vetoed that. Hamilton vetoed that. He actually told them he wants this guy and he doesn't want Santi. He actually vetoed that one directly.
Maybe. Another thing is that you have to consider is that Hamilton is an outsider and he doesn't speak Italian, right? There's a saying that in I think Sebastian Vettel told to Lewis Hamilton that if you're going to Ferrari, learn the language and learn it through the people, not through going to a teacher and telling it. Learn it to the race engineers.
Get a translator. Hire someone who speaks Italian and English and make sure that what you're saying is what the other team. This is common sense stuff. If as soon as I go to a team, if I don't speak the language, I'm going to hire somebody, pay them $5 million a year so that the other guy right there knows exactly what I'm saying. I'm giving you the example. Hamilton can pay $5 million a year. He's paying $5 million.
If you're paying me $5 million, I learn Italian. If you're paying me $5 million, I learn Italian.
So is it so much the language barrier, or is it so much the communication barrier? I don't think. No,
because if he has a communication barrier, for example, I don't speak Yoruba. If Afolabi comes to me as my friend, he's going to make sure nobody cheats me, and he does all the talking for me. Hamilton can do that.
I'm saying it's not necessarily when I say language barrier and communication barrier, I'm saying it's different. You might speak the same language, but not communicate well. I think it's a communication problem.
That's the problem with both sides. Because if I'm working with someone, I'm going to make sure that they understand me and make sure that Afolabi tells me, does this person understand me? Now, here's another thing. Hamilton has now come up with this. Because of Hamilton, they're doing the A spec, B spec thing. Okay. So whether or not Hamilton's the one dictating this, he's become a liability for this team. The team is worse off than they would have been if they had kept Sainz. Am I wrong, Afolabi?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not wrong.
It appears now that they're even changing the architecture, the whole architecture of the garage to suit Hamilton. It's not just race engineer stuff. And I asked my question, is the contract 1+1 or is it straight 2-year contract? Because it looks as if Ferrari is going back on their original plan because he was so bad last season. He didn't make the podium. I think he finished 6th in the drivers. They are looking like at a driver that you already have a replacement in the wings. So I don't know. It looks contradictory to me from Ferrari.
And this is not for me to disrespect Hamilton, but if I were Vasseur, see, this is why Toto Wolff is a genius. He said one of the reasons he didn't give Hamilton a long-term contract is because Hamilton is 40, and he's a great driver, but this is the end of it. They're making cataclysmic changes, and at the end of the day, Leclerc is also going to lose because the team is in rubbish. They're going to lose probably the best driver outside of Verstappen and Russell, who should have won a championship because they spent all their fortunes on Hamilton. Now, if they just want to make money, maybe they're making more money for Hamilton, and that's what it's about. But they're not going to be an F1 excellence team. What do you think, Roman?
Well, put it simply, is that we can blame Hamilton all we want for the changes in this. Again, this is a decision of Ferraris in the end, right? This is the decision of Ferrari. They decided to hire Hamilton, spend $500 million almost to get him, and make changes to suit him. I mean, if I'm being honest, if I was an F1 driver of Lewis Hamilton's caliber, and Ferrari spent $500 million just to acquire me to services to race for them, I would expect a lot of things. I expect a race engineer who's goddamn competent, a car which is goddamn competent, a team which doesn't make strategies out of their ass. So I would expect a lot of things, and Ferrari has not delivered anything on that part.
Here's the thing. Lewis Hamilton doesn't do sim work. Lewis Hamilton comes in. He doesn't do enough.
He kind of does. He kind of does. If I remember,
he complains. He rubs other people. He's arrogant. He's coming around acting like a people. He also has to carry half of the blame because he's not carrying his weight as a driver.
No, he does sim work, but his issue is that he cannot give better feedback with using the sim. He said himself in an interview
if you compare Lewis Hamilton to Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton is not working hard enough. Every minute I see him somewhere else in New York riding one of those little buggies. Meanwhile, Verstappen is racing or doing something. Hamilton is past the prime. He's lost his fierceness. But I agree with you. Let's say that here's why it is Hamilton's fault. What I mean by his fault is that he's not, whether or not it's the communication style, he doesn't add value to that team. So therefore, we can use him as the scapegoat because he's not carrying the load the way Sainz did. Whether it's his fault or not, he is the biggest problem. Hamilton right now, other than the management, has now become one of the biggest problems in that team because it's like a cancer which is causing them to lose their identity, and they're going to even do worse than they would do without him. So from an analytical point of view, they need to stop catering to him and just say, shut up and drive because we're not going to accommodate you anymore. And the reason they should do that is because if they do accommodate him, they're going to drag their team deeper into the mud, whether it's his fault or not. Do you see what I'm saying?
He has a problem with that argument. Is that this works if Ferrari are competent giving a car which actually functions. But for all we have known, they have not done that. So this year will be the final test. If Ferrari can manage to...
I would take a neutral view. Tell him, you're on our team. Santi's your race driver. That's it. We're not doing any more. So that way, don't cause more bleeding by now pissing off Santi by bringing in somebody from McLaren. Bringing in somebody from McLaren might even cause a lot of more engineers in Ferrari to leave. So it's not about being angry towards Hamilton. We'll say, sorry, we can't do it because we have to protect our family. We're not going to do this for you. Sorry.
I actually have a different opinion for that. I thought that why McLaren? For all we know, these guys are incompetent morons, but can make a good car.
When it comes to race strategy, yeah.
Yeah, they can make a good car. So why not hire someone from like Mercedes or Red Bull? For all we know, they're like geniuses over there.
They tried to get Bono. He wouldn't come. They won't come. You know why they won't come? Because they know that team is a place where engineers also come to die, just like where Hamilton also came to die. Remember I said this?
Money, though. Money.
Ferrari will be Hamilton's graveyard. Remember I said that?
Yeah.
I mean, I said at the same time. I said the same, but I heard the news. I was like, all right, that's his retirement tour. I knew it. I knew it from the beginning.
And let me tell you, but you're right. They're going to let Hamilton hang himself. Okay, we gave you Grosjean. We gave you A-spec, B-spec. Didn't work. Bye-bye. Welcome, Bierman. What are your thoughts, Kunle? Yeah, good point.
I think. Well, I mean, it's to focus. I mean, I think you need to focus on helping. I think Ferrari believes they need to focus on helping the driver rather than just letting the driver manage what he's being given. Sort of like when a kid is being given school dinners and they're told they must eat this, and they're told, no, I want this, and no, you got to have that. And I think the reason why he wants McLaren, he wants a British-based engineer behind him that he can communicate with better. I think the communication problems.
He's French. He's French.
Yeah, but he's from McLaren. When I say communication, I don't mean language. I mean,
hey, Kula, you have something on your nose.
Wait, I've got a cold. Oh dear. Yeah, I think it's the way that. No. I think it's the way that they communicate with their drivers. I need to blow my nose.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, let me blow my nose. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I'll probably go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, my own opinion, I tend to see what the wisdom in what Roman is saying, because, I mean, there are teams that are less visible and not as big that have excellent engineers who were just constrained by maybe budget or money. So it doesn't necessarily mean that picking one top engineer from a team would automatically come and fix your problem. Sometimes it's the sum of the parts that makes an excellent engineering team, not necessarily one guy with super brilliant technical know-how. So I feel this is never going to work because it doesn't even solve the problem of communication, which is at the heart of the issue. Anyway, bringing Grosjean from McLaren does not necessarily solve the problem of communication. He still has to fit himself to the Ferrari culture and the Ferrari ways of doing things. And he can start making demands on the team on what to do and what not to do. And like you said, this could get some of the Ferrari engineers upset, and there can be a chaotic environment that could affect, it could be counterproductive for Ferrari this season. That's the way I see it.
And also, let me tell you something. Communication doesn't matter when you have a rocket ship. McLaren, bad strategy. It's the car. So I think Ferrari doesn't need to cater to this guy. They need to figure out what to do with their car. What do you think?
There's a simpler way to look at it. All of this can be minute only if Hamilton can perform. If Hamilton was performing as well as Leclerc or even beating him, all of this discussion can be completely minute because, hey, you have a world champion, 7-time world champion on your books who's almost better or same as Charles Leclerc in the same car. So let's accommodate him even more so he can perform better. That argument can stand there. But Hamilton at the moment is not performing. And there's a question mark that he really perform in the future as well. So that's also a trap.
That was the point I was making before. And this sounds terrible, but with my language, when I say it's your fault because you're not performing no matter what reason it is. And that's why I say
Formula One for you. That's Formula One for you.
Isn't that what I've been trying to say the whole show?
Yeah, sure.
It's Hamilton's fault because he needs to perform. What are your thoughts, Kunle, before we head out? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we say it's Hamilton's fault and he needs to perform, at the end of the day,
did he cut out?
Better. So if his excuse for not date that to make him stronger, I think that's the natural Ferrari is looking at it. How do we improve Hamilton? We improve Hamilton by improving his communication issues.
I'm going to remind you of something.
But he's not a rookie, though, Kunle. He's not a rookie. I'm going to remind you something you said
last season. I'm going to remind you something you said last season, that Hamilton, when he's in the race, after qualifying, after he does pathetically, when he's in the race from P17, he ends up in P6, which means he wasn't putting effort in qualifying. That's why it's his fault, Kunle. It's not a communication problem. His qualifying sucks because he's not putting in the effort. And you were the one who said that last year, Kunle.
So he says his effort, he says it's communication. That's his excuse. We have to look at the excuses that they're giving and try to work on them because, I mean, he's never going to say it's effort. So we have to look at what he says. But he's not saying he's not putting in the effort. He's saying that he's having communication issues. So that's what we need to solve.
I would say it's 30% effort.
He has a thing, though.
The communication is not going to help Hamilton. Hamilton has to adapt his driving.
The communication issue may even be Hamilton's fault, and he may just need someone that talks to him better. It may even be his fault, and he just needs someone that he can communicate with better. It might not necessarily be the driver's.
Talking to him better is not going to help him figure out why he can't handle cars that are unstable, which are inherent from the ground effects era and also this new coming era where the cars will be unstable. No amount of communication will help for that. Communication is for racecraft.
Well, that's the thing that he says.
Performance.
There's also this to consider, right? Hamilton's not a rookie anymore.
He can change with better communication. So.
And Kunle, I'm not going to argue with Kunle. I'm not arguing with you when I say this, Kunle. If I were the owner of Ferrari, I would not totally change the structure of the team just to fit his communication because I don't think that one variable will make a difference. What are your thoughts, Roman? Yeah.
I mean, it's very simple, right? How much more can you accommodate a driver for him to perform? Do you have to change the entire car concept? Do you have to change the entire strategy? Do you need a second driver who's basically a cock like how Bottas was? Do you need to change the team principles who is like? You need to change. How much do you need to change for one driver? But is it all worth it as long as there's results in the end? At the moment, That's a question mark. Is that Hamilton's not a rookie, so whatever Ferrari puts him like a performance plan, better engineer to get the best out of him, he's not a rookie, he's a veteran. he has to basically be a man. So like, okay, I've been through so much shit already. I've raced many races. I know what my instincts are, and let's communicate in a way that my team understands it, so they can help me. Instead, you can't make demands like you're winning championships again. You're not at the moment. You're barely in the top 5. In the last few races, you didn't even make it out of Q1. So those are the results at the moment. So until Hamilton can get out of Q1, consistently get in Q3, score like in the top 5, beat Charles Leclerc, get a goddamn podium, more than one. He needs to get these 3 wins in my book to even justify his existence. 3 wins at a minimum to just justify itself, right? Without more than 3 wins, I don't see how you can justify Hamilton in a Ferrari. I just don't see it. Grand Prix wins, not sprint.
Roman, if Hamilton watches our show, he's going to pay us money to kick you off our show.
If he pays it, I want to share. I want to share. Give me 10%.
I like how you destroyed Hamilton. Last thoughts quickly, Kunle, before Afandi gives us his last thought. What you going to say now,
I don't think Hamilton can realistically hope to get 3 more wins this season. I think one would.
And he can retire. Then he can retire.
Yeah, I think that 3 wins. It's not just him. Ferrari as a whole is not capable of doing that kind of magic. But I think that he has 1 win in him. Well, he might. I don't even know if he has that, but that's what I'm hoping for. If he can get his 1 win, then he can retire and be all right with that.
So, Afandi, what are your points before we go out? What's your reaction to whatever?
Yeah, I think bottom line, when you are hiring a talent of the likes of Grosjean from a champion, it's often sensible, but it should be strategic. You want to improve your team, not necessarily because a driver has a special need. That's where I think they've missed it. It's to improve your team and add value to your team, not necessarily because of, a driver's special needs. So, and I don't think this is a strategic move in any way. So that's just the way I see it.
All right, this has been a good show, man. I love this show. Take us out, Kunle.
Yeah, so we've been looking at the struggles of Ferrari as they try to get ready for the 2026 season. Are they communicating well, or are they just singing a tune to a brick wall? We do not know, but we shall find out very soon. And from myself, Afolabi, and Mustafa and Roman, we bid you goodbye, farewell, adieu. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, thank you guys. Good one. Yeah.